I never, ever claimed to be any sort of guru in the football universe. But I do think I am the hardest working man in Dolphins show business. I'm like the little engine that could. I just work and work and work. And I think it's the work that allows me to have the accuracy I've had. After week one, the talk was Fangio's disaster. The defense won't get there. I said, I like what I'm seeing. It's going to work out. And I think it's trending in that direction. I said that despite the offensive line issues we had last year, Hill, Waddle, Tua, and McDaniel are going to create game-changing leverage to offset that. And then ultimately, though, the offensive line is going to have its moment, and how it performs is going to define everything on this offense. And I said that again this season. And, a lot of the stuff going out was, we've got number one rush game, number one pass game. These offensive linemen are blocking unbelievable. I held my ground, and, I was called a hater and a bunch of other things, which I get. But now, with this Chiefs game, there is a trend line to confirm what I'm saying. But there is great news in it to confirm something else I'm saying. This Dolphins team has not reached its final form. I don't know what that final form is, but there's true hope for us to beat the teams we need to in the most critical portion of the season. And it's not hopium, because if I wanted hopium, I'd ride Tua all day like some of these guys do. I would ride with the greatest thing ever all day long like some of these guys do. And Jackson's ready for the Pro Bowl. But I'm telling you, there's real hope here. I don't know how it's going to play out. This Raiders game is going to be so much more important, and I'm going to show you why. I'm going to show you the hopium, if that's what you want to call it, but I think it's actually concrete rationale for to believe in this team. But I'm going to show you the problems that we've had and why it's not about the Dolphins can't beat good teams. Is this offense capable, and the protection it provides capable to beat good defenses? And if we get to that point, I believe the rest will flow. So I'm going to go over, I got 3 points now. And if you know anything, 3 data points creates a trend line. It doesn't mean it's concrete, but it starts putting a credence into what you want to say. You need more and more data points. Ultimately, it gets to the point of, this is real. So we got the rest of the season to play it out. But I'm going to go over the Chargers game. I'm going to go over the Bills game, and I'm going to go over the Chiefs game, because these were 3-man defenses, and you're going to see clear data points that connect, and you're going to see what the problem really is. And it's not about Tua as much as it is about the protection and what we have to invest in the protection, which limits the pass game. And so you could say maybe McDaniel needs to do a little better, but that's something we got to work out. But the clear point is, this is what the protection's really providing, not, one play and then telling you a bunch of stuff. This is whole host of analytics to confirm. But again, we have yet to see Teron, Connor, and Hunt together, and that can throw the tables over of all these analytics, and that's what I'm hoping for. So I'm going to get into it quick in a very succinct way to show you that anybody you don't have to be a football genius, and you'll see clearly what the problem is. And then when you see that clear problem, you'll go, oh yeah, if I got Teron, Connor, and Hunt, it's going to uplift this. I don't know exactly how much, but it could put us in position to be where we want to go. Now, before I get into that, I got to do the pitch sale. I want to say, guys, the likes, the subscribes, the comments, the views, all that stuff keeps me in business. I love to do this thing. I love to serve you guys. I love to study football. So I want to give you a shout out, and a shout out to Ace Per Head, my sponsor, because without the two of you, this show ain't going down. Ace Per Head's betting software is the premier white label platform for bookies to manage their players and grow their sportsbook operation. Click the link in the description below to get set up in minutes. Ask for the Curtis promo and get a special introductory discount. All right, we'll get rid of my ugly mug, and I'm going to just throw this Image up here, and we're going to focus on that. I'm going to do a real quick look, and then I'll break it down even more. So here you go. Now, you'll see I got a list of stats on the left, top to bottom, the week, the team, blockers per pass, play actions versus the number of dropbacks, adjusted blockers per pass. I've been working with this guy, Scotty, is a commenter, a smart guy, and he made me fine-tune this stuff. Time to throw. This is next-gen stats, doesn't include sacks, so it's a very pristine number. Pressures and sacks, yards in the pass game and attempts, touchdowns and ints, and opponent pass defense ranking. Okay? So I'm going to get into the meat, and you'll see time to throw versus the Chargers 2-5-3. That was our longest amount of time of all 9 games to hold the football. Okay? But in the NFL, it was the 5th fastest. So we ended up with 14 pressures, which put us, it was the number 1 amount of pressures that we allowed all season, and it was 14th rank in the NFL. We didn't allow any sacks, though. But clearly, the ball was coming out ultra fast, top 5, but we still allowed that many pressures. Now, they played man. They got in our face. Tua made some great throws to beat a poor secondary, which was is currently the 32nd worst pass defense in the league. Now, go to week 4 against the Bills. They started out in zone. They went to heavy man. They didn't blitz that much. Chargers blitzed a ton. Bills didn't blitz that much, and neither did the Chiefs, which was very surprising. And you'll see time to throw 2-4-6. It was our 7th most time holding the ball. It was still top 5 in the NFL that week, but we gave up 13 pressures and 4 sacks, which was the 2nd most pressures of our season and 1st most of the season for us as far as sacks. But it was 12th most in the league that week, even though we got the ball out 5th fastest. Then you go to the Chiefs game, 2-5-2. That's the 2nd most, 8th of the season, the time we held the ball the longest, but it still was top 4 in the league this week. Top 4 in the league and our 2nd highest. We gave up 11 pressures and 3 sacks, which was tied for 3rd most pressures that we gave up on the season and tied 2nd for most sacks, and it was 15th most pressures. But if you'll notice, Chargers are the 32nd pass defense, but the big difference where you see the whole thing change is we had the 10th best pass defense in the Bills that week. They've degraded since then because of injuries. But then we had the 7th best pass defense in the Chiefs. And all 3 played man. But we're getting the ball out top 5 fastest. And we're still getting that kind of pressure, which is nuts. Now, some of that can be mitigated by what McDaniel does and calls. I'll get into that. But we were still middle of the league in pressures, and we were top 3rd against the Bills. Now, the point I want to get to is none of these games had Teron, Connor, and Hunt, and that's something we got to focus on. We got the bye week. All 3 are going to be here against the Raiders, and the Raiders do present some challenges that we've seen here, but we have not seen those 3 guys together. And so how we deal with the Raiders with this trend line we've seen over here, it could tell us something different and create a second trend line that's not going down, but that's actually heading up. And that's why we've got to wait for this Raiders game, because it's not about the defense. The defense is going to be good. I've said that all season, and it's clear. I'm not saying it's going to be the best ever, but it's going to be good enough. It's the protection and the ability to get guys out in routes and not have to overvalue our protection by loading it up and compromising guys in routes, which makes it harder for Tua, and then still getting that pressure. So the Raiders game is going to be key. Savvy, I don't care what people are saying. There's the best offensive line since the Unicorns and all this other stuff. It's not true. It's not true. I mean, if it was, you wouldn't see this. These are clear stats. But again, Teron alters the protection in the pass game. Not so much in the run game, Lamb. And, you still got Lamb back there. And then Connor and Hunt uplift the pass protection, but more importantly, the run game. The run game will drive this team because it will force guys to creep up, especially the inside run stuff. It will help our play action be legitimate and not just throwing bodies out there. And I'm going to get into that now. I've altered my blockers per pass, and I want to create this thing so you understand that when you see certain stat lines, it will tell you something, okay? So now I'm going to dig in deeper. Against the Bolts, our blockers per pass were 5.25. Doesn't sound like a lot. And we ran play action 12 out of 47 dropbacks, almost 25%. That was the fourth most play actions we ran all season. And so we got blitzed a lot that game. So we were bringing the bodies in there. We didn't run the ball effectively much, but we brought those bodies in to give Tua the time to create the miracles with Hill and Waddle. And there was a reason for that because all that pressure was coming. Play action pass puts bodies there and cause teams to bite if they really believe, but more importantly, it helps you with your protection. So our adjusted blockers per pass was 5.76. But we still had to hold the ball 253, but we put up 466 yards, 3 touchdowns. There was the number 1 yards we had in the season. I think it was tied for second for the most amount of touchdowns. And so, but a lot of that came about because they had the 32nd pass rush. But now you go to a secondary. But now you go to the Bills. They've got the 10th best pass defense. We have 5.25 blockers per pass. We only run play action 8 times out of 47. It's about 20%. That was our 5th least usage of it. And we ended up with 5.59 blockers, which was one of the least we had. And we got the ball at 2.46, which was 5th best in the league, but 7th slowest for us, but we gave up 13 pressures and 4 sacks, which is detrimental. You can't expect to have success with that. But again, Tehran was out, Connor wasn't in there, and so that all played out. Now we go against the Chiefs. Now we have, you could see the blockers per pass, the raw score blossomed, it ballooned to 5.57. We ran play action 14 out of 33 times, 33%, to keep the bodies in there. They really weren't buying on our play action. And our adjusted blockers per pass was 6.5, and he only blitzed about 7 or 8 times. That means for most of the day, it was 6.5 blockers against 4 guys. But we still held the ball 2-5-2 because of their secondary, playing man, slowing it down, and they generated 11 pressures and 3 sacks, while still getting the ball out 4th fastest in the NFL. Guys, you can't get the ball out that fast. Keep that many guys in with play action and get this kind of pressure. But again, the 3 studs of this offensive line have never been together. And so this Raiders game, they've got a pretty good pass defense and a run defense. And so they're going to challenge this offense. And if you look at these teams, you look at the Ravens and the Titans and the Jets and, the Bills, they're keeping us about 18 points per game. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but we could only score 14 against the Chiefs. We scored, 10 against the Bills. Against the Eagles, it was like 14 or something. So if we can't break past this, and they can, all their offenses score about between, 14 and 17, we could end up losing some of these games against the Titans and the Jets. We shouldn't. But if we can get our protection right, we don't got to keep so many in a box. We don't have to run this play action without legitimate play action. We will put points on. We will beat the better teams. And so this is what you got to keep your eyes on. Don't keep it on the optics of Tua. That's not what matters. Even McDaniel, he's got some flaws and all that stuff, and he can help us, and we'll talk about that. But it comes down to the actual blockers making their blocks. The offensive linemen make the NFL world go round, and that's the case. But with the Dolphins, it doesn't make it move as much, but still makes it move. So there is hope, guys. Enjoy your bye week. This team is 6-3. They're going to have their 3 studs back, and it is a big, big difference. Let's see what kind of difference it is against the Raiders and start evaluating week to week. This is Curtis saying thanks for stopping by. I appreciate all you guys do. Go Fins. Start building your own online sportsbook today by getting signed up with AceBread.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.